Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to a letter from England, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. My name is Jonathan Dawson. Well, we're back with the buses, I'm afraid, this week, and asking if the atheist publicity campaign, which claims or which says that there's probably no God, so stop worrying and enjoy your life, is offensive or useful, or perhaps falls somewhere in between. As we've reported at AC Press in recent weeks, reactions to the atheist advertising campaign have been as varied as the buses on which the posters have been displayed. Some Christians have placed their own theistic adverts on other buses. The Spanish Evangelical Alliance uttered some sentiments about freedom of speech, but the Roman Catholic hierarchy has gone for the jugular, calling the campaign offensive to Christians and also calling it blasphemous. The Spanish Episcopate believes that to suggest that God does not exist and that he prevents one from enjoying life is blasphemy and an offence to those who believe. Quote, they're calling on the authorities to govern the exercise of the right of religious freedom. In other words, to govern it in a more effective way, and presumably to ban such adverts as these. Meanwhile, the Evangelical Alliance's General Secretary, Jaume Llena, says the campaign should be seen, quote, in the same way that those of us who are believers proclaim our ideas without them being interpreted as an attack on those who do not believe in God. So we should respect and defend those who oppose our beliefs. The defence of the right, that is, of those who oppose our beliefs to proclaim their ideas in the same way that we do. And he adds that Catholics respect the right he doesn't say this is the Episcopate, who adds that Catholics respect the right, they say, of everyone to express their views and will be ready to act in moderation against the insult as well as with strength and courage in defence of the truth. God is love, they say. Well, the statement emphasises that freedom of speech is a basic right. On that I think everyone is agreed, and that all may exercise it within the bounds of the law. However, the Catholic statement goes on to say that the public arena should not be used to publicise messages which offend the religious beliefs of many. But the Alliance has a very different standpoint. It argues that the atheist campaign is a natural part of living in a pluralist democracy, and that the campaign is not an attack on religious beliefs, but the statement of what atheists believe. Arguing that Christians should respect and defend the right of atheists to do this, the Alliance does point out what it sees as three contradictions in the content of the campaign's message. Firstly, it requires faith in atheism, perhaps a deeper faith, they suggest, than that held by Christians, given that it's obvious that not believing in God does not automatically confer happiness on the unbeliever. There are plenty of miserable agnostics or atheists around. Secondly, the campaign ignores the highly positive effect that belief in God has had on countless millions of people, even in the most adverse of circumstances. And finally and thirdly, they reason that the campaign, far from encouraging unbelief, has actually put God in the news and in the minds of many people, making God the centre of debate. So is the campaign offensive or useful, or both? Well, it is interesting in this era of political correctness, where offending the views of others is so important, it would seem to the authorities, at least the views of some, not the views of Christians, it would seem. And it's ironic that atheists who are in the forefront of complaining that the Christian message offends other people, or that when Christians claim, for example, the exclusivity of Christ, or try and broadcast their views in the public arena, that they mustn't do so because they might offend those of other beliefs. It's rather ironic, therefore, that they are now taking their own beliefs to the public in such a way. As for being offensive, well, I have to confess the Catholic Episcopate has a point, that claiming or hinting, implying that belief in God means that one cannot enjoy oneself is indeed a huge distortion of the Christian faith, and grossly unfair, not to mention downright wrong, of course. The Alliance is right to point out that in a pluralist democracy, everyone has the right to express lawfully their viewpoint, And in that sense, the advertisements are acceptable. But in another sense, I think they're being naive to suggest that it's not actually an attack on religious beliefs. What is a statement of atheism, if not an implicit attack? Yes, it's not a personal attack on any particular church or any particular religious organisation, but it is making claims which they cannot substantiate any more than Christians can prove in a scientific sense that God exists, which of course is what atheists often throw at us. So if they're going to measure themselves by the same yardstick, they really ought to remove the ads from the buses. Oh, well, let's finish on a positive note. I agree with the Alliance that the campaign, far from encouraging unbelief, actually is putting God in the news, in the public arena, which rather ironically is just where the atheists don't want him. I wonder what good God is going to bring from this campaign. Thank you for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting at emission.net each week. Goodbye.
Emisión.net